Hola mi gente, welcome to the Money Chisme podcast, where we spill the real chisme on building wealth without the bullshit. Whether you're trying to invest, grow that side hustle, finally get your money right, or my favorite, buy rental properties, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Violeta, a first-gen Mexican immigrant, real estate investor, entrepreneur, and your financial hype woman. Get ready for tips, tricks, and expert advice straight from nuestra comunidad, porque el dinero es power and we're here to claim it. Don't forget, you can always find helpful resources down in the show notes and in descriptions, so make sure you check that out. Let's talk about this big, beautiful boycott, which is a play on words on the big, beautiful bill, because this holiday season is feeling heavy with all the political bullshit that's been happening, all the chaos, our community being under attack and targeted with these ICE raids, with the working class dealing with the SNAP benefits being cut, which is leaving millions of families without food. And with this government shutdown, lots of people are without their benefits. You have federal workers that have just been laid off on whim with no regard to how it affects them, and massive layoffs left and right. Like this season, we are feeling it from everything that's been going on this whole year. And now they expect us to go out here and spend money like none of it has been happening, like it's not affecting our pockets and our livelihood. They want us to be excited about these Black Friday deals. Well, no, because this year we are deciding to do a no spend holiday season, but it is a resistance. It is a protest because we are getting tired. And the only thing that these companies and this government knows what language that they speak is with our money, with our pockets, because they've been hurting our pockets. So let's hurt their pockets. So, yeah, this season we're like, you know what? We are doing a spending boycott, and it actually started November 1st. And it's basically no shopping sprees, no maxing out your credit card, no guilt fueled gift buying, because we all see those commercials about, like, oh, give your loved one this or give your loved one that, or your kid wants this or that. And they really play on that guilt to really push you to buy. So we're not falling for that this year. Instead, we are going to focus on spending quality time with our families, making memories, and really building and supporting our community because we really need it. And it's not about depriving ourselves of the holiday season, because a lot of people enjoy the holidays. I know I do. It's just that it has really become very capitalistic, and the focus has been on gift giving and opening presents and buying things, and even with the decor, we've gone crazy with having to buy new ornaments every year, of a new tree, new holiday decor, all that stuff. It's always like everything's new. It really shows with the times, because if you've been on TikTok, you've been noticing this Ralph Lauren Christmas trend, which is basically just traditional Christmas. So we are even already trying to go back to that already. But of course, capitalism always tries to profit off of it. So they've coined it the Ralph Lauren traditional Christmas, and they're already starting to make things that are traditional and basically the Christmas colors. But we're going to avoid that this year and just go back to just regular things. And so I want to talk about that and share some things that we can do to still enjoy the holidays, but also, support the resistance. One of the benefits of doing this big, beautiful boycott is that it's going to help us save money, because we do tend to overspend during the holidays. It's very tempting. You get caught up in the magic of the holidays, and you go out there and you want to like show your loved ones that you care for them by buying them gifts and stuff. That puts us at some financial risk. Sometimes people max out their credit cards, and then you spend January, the new first part of the next year just regretting and dealing with the aftermath of just swiping that credit card. So not only are we going to avoid that, we're going to save our pockets and do it for a good cause as well. So one of the things that you can do, and it's one of the things that I am thinking of doing, and me and my husband already talked about it, that we're going to talk to our families that, you know what, we're not going to spend money on gifts. The only ones that we are going to purchase anything is my niece, which is my husband's sister's daughter. And that's the only person. She's going to get just like one gift. And my stepson will get one gift. And my daughter might get something, but probably from the grandparents. I don't plan on buying anything, but I am going to be more strategic of how I purchase these gifts. But the main focus is going to be creating memories, and you could create like new traditions. And that's now that I have my daughter, she's 20 months old, and she is at that age where she's like starting to be aware of things, right? She knows things and enjoying crafts and all that. I really want to start creating a tradition, and I really want to promote, a holiday that is not so heavily focused on buying things. So we're going to focus on like crafts and, doing the tradition of watching certain Christmas movies, which, by the way, if you want to avoid, giving the streaming services any money, you could always go to like the thrift store and buy a physical copy, which I do. I have physical copies of movies that I like, that I enjoy. That's what my plan is going to be. Baking cookies and decorating them instead of going out to like Walmart and buying them. We'll just do some basic cookies and everything like that. So just coming up with new things instead of like focusing too much on the gift giving. But if you do want to involve giving a gift, maybe you can re-gift. Now, I know you're going to think like, oh wow, that's tacky to re-gift something or give something that's been in your closet. Now, I'm not talking about to go gift your old chanclas or your old sweater, whatever, but I know we all have those things in our closet or in our house that we bought on a whim, and we said, you know what, this looks cute. I'll find a way to decorate my house with it later, and then it just sits there and collects dust, or that sweater or that dress or whatever that you bought for an occasion that still hasn't come around. You could gift it. Decor, I do that all the time. I used to get decor and be like, oh well, whenever we move or whatever, or I could put this here, and then I come home and you know what, I didn't like it, or it didn't you know fit where I thought it would be. So then I was like, well, then it just sits there. And, like candles, who doesn't buy random candles every time they used to go to the store? So sometimes we create a stockpile. So even things like that, you can regift. And, I know some people might think it's tacky, but you know what's tacky is these big ass corporations that gave money to fund the big ballroom for Trump. That's tacky. Now, something that could go kind of like hand in hand with the traditions, like creating new traditions and things, is we talked about, creating some arts and crafts and everything, but that can serve as a holiday decor as well. Like, who remembers when we were younger and we created those like those paper chain? They're like basically a garland, and you cut little strips of construction paper and then you glue them together in chains and stuff. Who remembers that? Or, decorating pine cones, or creating like snowmen out of cotton balls. Like, there's so many crafts out there. All you have to do is like Google it or YouTube it or whatever. And I'm sure TikTok right now is coming out with so many crafts that you can do on a budget, and you could decorate. Like, I am starting to see like people doing those candy dried like orange slices and stuff as decor, all that you can do. Instead of going out there and buying the pre-made and manufactured, mass produced traditional Christmas decor that we're starting to see, because um I feel like these corporations are really tracking that we are trying not to buy. And so they're trying to kind of like trick us into this, like, oh, well, this is old tradition Christmas. So you could buy this or whatever. Which, by the way, the thing that kind of triggered to talk about this was Mariah Carey's November 1st, It's Time, that really was very tone deaf. Some people are saying, like, well, she record this a while back or whatever. And Sephora was in there. And basically, you have to go. I'll link it in the description. If you haven't seen it, like watch it. And it feels very tone deaf because it kind of like talks, like mentions, it hints at the boycott or us trying to not spend or whatever. And Mariah Carey basically says, well, you're going to do it anyways. And she forces the elf to participate in Christmas. So let me know your thoughts on that. Go watch it. Let me know in the comments because the first time that I saw it, because I love waiting for that. That's one thing that Mariah Carey, she's the queen of Christmas and she always like drops that ad or whatever, that video on November 1st. So it's like something that people look forward to and I was excited. So the first time I saw it, I didn't click because I saw it in like at night, watching TikTok at night in bed. And so I saw it, I was like, and then the next day, I looked at it again. I was like, "Oh, wow, like, it is tone deaf." Like, "Oh, shoot, I totally, like, missed that, half asleep, didn't even realize what it was hinting at." So, yeah, these companies, they don't give a shit, okay? So, you know what? The only thing that they listen to is money. So, withholding our money, and we've seen it with Target, with their stocks, and they're having to, like, lay off people now and everything. So, like, it does have an effect and we can, make an impact. We just have to have a little bit of discipline. Other ways that you can still support without spending is, of course, sharing, local vendors, the mutual aid. One thing that I have been seeing about the SNAP benefits is so many people are creating their own food pantries. They're hosting their own food drives, and I see it, and people are donating to people's food drive if they can't donate like food because they're like out of the area, especially like on TikTok, on social media. I've seen it, and people just donate, and so the person can go buy extra food and create like their own food pantry. So doing things like that, going out and donating your time for established pantries, soup kitchens, things like that, doing community service and really supporting our community members that are definitely struggling this year because of everything going on. And, even with Section 8 housing being cut or withheld and SNAP benefits and all that. Definitely think anything you can do to, help advertise and push those services out there. You could help that way. But yeah, support doesn't have to be monetary because I know we're all kind of struggling as well, but just helping promote those services. Even if you can't, donate, money or whatever, just share it on social media, share it on your Instagram, on a TikTok or whatever. Just repost it. Everything helps. Now, I understand that sometimes spending is unavoidable, especially because there is a list out there that I will link down below. It's also on the blog that's linked down below for more information. There's a list of who to avoid, what companies to avoid. I mentioned Target, like Starbucks, McDonald's, Walmart, things like that. But sometimes you do need to go get something, right? For example, Walmart might be the only store that's in your area. I know here where I'm at, it's only Walmart. There's no other store that provides, like, if I need to go get socks or, diapers for the baby, like, that's the only store there. But the thing that you can still do is only buy the necessities. So, like, I know when you go buy something, you'll go for like milk, and then you're like, oh, you see a candle or whatever and buy it. You could still participate and do a little bit of your part by just avoiding overspending and giving them that extra money. And if you can, just support your local businesses. If you do want to buy a gift, maybe go on local. I know on Facebook, I know we're not, Facebook is trash too. but you could go on your local marketplace, your groups or whatever, and there's always like people that are selling like handmade candles and things like that. I will say the only thing is that even if you want to support a small business, some of these were still for this administration and support this type of things like the ice, right? So it will take a little bit extra, I guess, research and a little bit work to make sure that even the small businesses that you are supporting are not using your money and still supporting this political chaos and all that. And the last thing, one of the best things that you can do is, of course, learn how to manage and grow your money. With all the extra savings, go ahead and drop extra cash in your retirement account in your 401k or whatever. Save it up for a rental property. I'm a real estate investor. Save that to buy a rental property to start building, some cash flow and some wealth, or just put it in a high yield savings account so that way it isn't at least losing its value due to inflation. And really dedicate some time to learn how you can manage and grow your money. We have lots of people in our community, a lot of Latinas that are out here, a lot of women of color, there's just a lot of minority financial experts that are out here really helping our communities, because the best thing you can do is to get out of the struggle, to get out of that financial scarcity mindset, and get into some financial stability, because it gets you out of that survival mode. It gets you out of like being stressed out to where all you are focused on is surviving, because that's what they want. They want us to struggle so that way we could turn a blind eye on what they are doing, you know and we are just, too busy trying to survive and feed our families. And that, I mean, it shows it, because look what has been cut: SNAP benefits and programs that help, the working class that are really struggling. And meanwhile, the government's out there just doing whatever they want, right? So learning how money works and all that really is the best form of resistance. And then learning how to build wealth, because money is power. We see it with this administration, how money has influence. I mean, just look what everything is happening. So our community needs to build some wealth so we can start making change. And I will leave some resources down below as well, of people in our community that are helping you learn about money. And of course, the podcast is a great resource. But other than that, let me know if you are going to participate in the Big Beautiful Boycott, what you can do, and any other ideas of how we can resist. But other than that, I will see you in the next episode. Bye. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like and share this episode so others can also find this podcast. Don't forget to follow me on all my social medias listed in the show notes below, where you can also find resources to help you in your financial journey. If you're interested in becoming a guest on the podcast, you can find that information in the show notes. Other than that, thank you so much for your support, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.